of the America's Cup Organizing Committee.
Mr. Ellison, you said you have an expectation of 14 to 16 teams coming? We've got 4 challengers now.
Right.
5 counting you. When do you expect to see the other dozen?
I think we know of about 5 more that I think will be entering shortly. But we're hopeful that there are a bunch of countries that are very, very interested. We hope to get the Chinese here, the Japanese here. But over the next 12 months, I think we're going to have more entries.
Do you expect that this team will be announcing now that we have the venue selected? The 15?
I'm sorry.
So my understanding is that there are 4 teams, challenger teams, and there's 1 5th team. There are 6 that are now announced.
5 announced, 6 entered.
And will the 16 be announcing now that the venue's been determined? Okay. All right, thank you. So you don't know the timing. Thank you.
I'll get a question for Ian.
Ian, a lot of our readers are curious. What will exclusive use of the bay look like for 43 days?
Depending on how many competitors we have, depending on the Challenger Selection Series, whether we have a Defender Selection Series. Bear in mind that the racing that we're going to do is, these are not 4.5-hour races that we had in Newport in 1983. These are 45-minute races, and we'll be having more shorter races. We are also, because of the nature of the time that we want the races to run, we'll be using a more compact course, and so I expect that commercial shipping, the America's Cup race course, the limitations on the sides of our course, one being naturally the city front and the other one being a line that we draw for the competitors. I think we can live all together. It's just a matter of managing all of our needs. Obviously, we, as the event authority, have said that it's very important for us to televise these events, and they have to be regular in terms of the time that they start. So we are going to have very specific times that we actually want to start the race, and very specific times that we want to finish the race. So we will be adjusting the length of the course, and hopefully that will work with commercial shipping and whatever else has got to happen on the Bay of San Francisco. We all want to live here happily.
Well, I think the most important thing is now to move forward quickly with the CEQA process, the environmental process, which will take about a year, and we've got to make sure that process begins in earnest quickly. I think the second thing, it's obvious, I'm the future ex-mayor very soon, and I want to make sure there's continuity here in the city, and to make sure that we have a team established and organized effort here within the various city's departments, from recreation and parks to port, and with other agencies within the city, to make sure there's real coordination and collaboration, as well as with state agencies and federal agencies. Unfortunately, the new chair, the incoming chair of the State Lands Commission, which is incredibly important in the context of some of the specific deal terms that were established with the event authority. So that continuity, I think, will be well established within the state. But we've got to get the CEQA process moving, engineering work, drawings, the permits, move forward with the actual construction in the underbelly of the piers and the port, and make sure that we're prepared for these earlier races, and make sure that the venues are well endowed before the 2013 date.
This question's for Ian. Paul Oliva, writing for San Francisco Chronicle. Just a follow-up on the course question. A lot of interest in, more specifically, what the course would be, where there'd be turning marks. Would you be going out beyond the Golden Gate Bridge to the demarcation line and back? Anything you can say on that?
Yeah, we outlined the possibility of the course on San Francisco to the competitors at some of our briefings recently, and we would like the the Golden Gate Bridge to come into play. Likewise, Alcatraz in interaction with the city front. It's quite likely we could start either side of Alcatraz, and certainly the mark could go up to a mile to the west of the bridge and still maintain our course. We want to have a mix of courses where we have a degree of difficulty. These boats are going to be very physical to sail. They've got very large sails with extremely large forces in them, and in many sailing boats around the world these would be dealt with by mechanically driven motor, winches and bits and pieces. That's not the case here. So, you know, to get these boats around 2 to 3 mile length of course multiple times through various gates and rounding buoys and reaching legs and windward lures, you know, it's going to be tough. But we envisage that, you know, the body of the course to be, you know, between Alcatraz, just slightly west of the bridge, the city front, Chrissy Fields.
Chuck Lance for Cup Info. Has a wind limit been decided upon? We heard a rumor from 3 to 33 knots.
Look, I think one of the great criticisms of recent America's Cup has been the fact that, you know, the big old heavy boats didn't sail in not too much breeze, and they were fragile in a lot of breeze. America's Cup 72 class has actually been designed with 2 sizes of solid wing sails. It has a 32 metre one and a 40 metre one. Obviously the 40 metre one is for the lighter airs, and I think, you know, when Larry and Russell conceived, you know, the catamarans, there was a desire to make it work for television, and it's been stated we'd like to sail between 3 and 33 knots. Now, the practicality is that we want to sail whenever we can. The reality is that sea state condition is probably just as important as the wind in managing, you know, whether it's an ebb tide or a flood tide, and whether it's wind against wave and the direction of the wind. So there are certainly things that we have we will be managing. We will have many tools at our hands in terms of the big rig and the little rig, which sort of takes me back to my skiff days, that we'll be able to manage, I think, to be able to sail in pretty much any conditions that San Francisco can offer up to us.